Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to BISP Solutions. This is Farha Alam, and in this session, we're going to check out how to create the OTBI analysis with drill-through functionality. We will going to navigate from the OTBI analysis to the application page. And in the last video, we took a look at the drill down functionality. So the drill down functionality is basically navigating from summary analysis to the detailed analysis. And the difference between the drill down functionality and the drill through functionality is the drill through is will going to take you to the application page. We can click on the fields in the analysis, and then it's going to take you right to the application page. So in order to see how do we achieve this functionality in our analysis, we have to go to the instance and see how do we achieve this one. So what kind of analysis we are going to create? So this is the one which we are going to create. This is the invoice detail analysis, and here we have all these information: supplier name, invoice number, invoice date, and invoice amount. And for the invoice number, we are going to enable this drill through functionality. So what will happen when we click on any of the invoice number? So it will going to redirect us to the that particular web page for this particular invoice number. And this is the result which we get when we click on any of the invoice number, so that it will redirect us to the invoice detail for that particular invoice number. So in order to create this one, we have to go to the catalog option, and we have to search the folder in which we are creating our analysis. And here it is. These are the analysis which we had created in our last session. So in order to create another new analysis, we have to click on this create option and then click on the analysis. Then we have to select the subject area, as we are creating the analysis for invoice detail. So we have to select the payable subject area over here. So here we have to select the subject area, and which is the payables, invoices, transactions, real time. And this is the one. So in order to get a better understanding for this one, let's take an example to understand this drill through functionality. Let's say you have an analysis showing the invoice detail, and in the front of that invoice detail analysis, you can click on the invoice number. Then that invoice number will navigate you to the actual application page. So that's what we are going to take a look at today. And here the payables, invoices, transactions, real-time subject area window has opened, and we have to select the columns from here. Expand this invoice detail information folder, and under this one we have general information folder. Expand this one and select the columns which we want to include in the analysis, and which columns we are going to include. I'm going to include the invoice date, then invoice number, invoice date, supplier or party name. Here it is. And last, I want to include the invoice amount. And click on the result tab. Make sure that we'll be able to see some result for this one. And here it is. Here we have included the invoice ID in our analysis. So invoice ID is something which we need a drill through to work, because we have to pass the invoice ID, and that's how the system navigates to the specific invoice detail. But from the user's perspective, they don't want to see the invoice ID, right? As the users care more about the invoice number. So let's go ahead and hide this invoice ID from the analysis. So how do we do this? So we have to go to the criteria tab, and under criteria tab, for under the setting icon for the invoice ID, we have to click on the column properties and click on column format option. Here we have the option hide. So select this one and hide this invoice ID and click on OK. Again, go back to the result tab, and here you can see that the invoice ID column not display anymore. Make sure that make sure not to exclude this invoice ID from this analysis. If you do so, if you exclude this invoice ID from this analysis, then this drill through functionality may not work, as it is based on the invoice ID. So now it's time to implement the drill through functionality. So we have to go back. One more thing I want to do over here, which is I want to little bit rearrange this one. Like I want to rearrange this supplier or party name field. Okay. Okay, so I have rearranged this analysis a little bit, like I have rearranged the supplier name so that we'll be able to see the invoice detail for that particular supplier. And next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to implement this drill through functionality for the invoice number. So I have to go to the setting icon for the invoice number and click on the column properties. And here we have to click on the interaction tab, as we have as we have as we have performed for the drill down functionality in our last session. And we have to select the primary interaction and click on this action links, and here we have to add the new action link. So we have to click on this add action link icon, and here we have to provide the link text over here. So what text we are going to display over here: view invoice detail, as we had provided in our last session. So next we have to create the action link. So click on this one. If you remember, last time we had selected this one, navigate to BI content, as we were navigating from summary analysis to the detailed analysis. So both were BI content, right? But this time we are navigating from BI content to the particular web page. So I'm going to select this one, which is navigate to a web page. Select this one. when we click on this one, so it will going to open the window and ask the URL on which URL we want to redirect ourselves. So here we have to provide the URL, and this is the one which I have got it. So this is basically the instance URL. This is our instance URL, and after .com, these are the standards. These are the predefined standards provided by Oracle, and in it what we have basically three parameters over here. One is defined here, is defined over here, and three is defined over here. Three is the invoice ID, as this drill through is based on the invoice ID, as the system navigate on the basis of this invoice ID. Second, we have what type of action the user want to take, as it is navigating from one BI content to another, as it is navigating from the BI content to the web page. And first is what kind of object it is, as it is the invoice detail or invoice payment transactions, right? So this is the one which we have to provide under the URL. Copy this one and paste it over here under URL. And here we before defining parameter, I'm going to click on this options. So here I have to select this one, open in new window. So whenever we click on any of the invoice number, so that particular invoice numbers web page will open in the new window. So click on OK, and here we have to define the parameters, and we have to click on this add parameters option. So what parameters we have to pass? We have to pass these three parameters, which is AP view invoice, view, and invoice ID. AP invoice, pass it over here, and these parameters will going to be fixed and hidden. Again, we have to define the next parameter, and what next parameter we have? It is view. Copy this one and paste it. Again, it will going to be fixed and hidden. And then we have to define the last parameter, which is the invoice ID. So we have to select the column value, and under column value, which column value we have to pass? We have to pass the invoice ID. So on the basis of that particular invoice ID, the system will navigate to that particular web page, and again it will going to fixed and hidden. After providing all these things, click on OK. Here you can see that we can also enable this drill through functionality conditionally also. So if we want to enable this drill through functionality for a specific condition, as we have seen in our last session for drill down functionality, right? So we can do that here also. If you want to enable this drill through functionality conditionally enable, so you can do that also. As I am going to select the always option, so click on OK. Again click on OK, and then in order to see all these changes, firstly we have to save this analysis, so that we'll be able to see all kind of changes which we have made over here. So here we have to provide the name for the analysis. So I'm going to provide drill through analysis, and location will be shared folder, custom BI analysis editor. Okay, then click on OK. Here it is saved. Click on save one more time, and then go back to the catalog option and search for the analysis which we have just created, which is this one, drill through analysis. Open this one, And here this drill through functionality is enabled for the invoice number, and when we click on any of the invoice number, it will going to display the link text view invoice detail, and then we have to click on this one. Then it will going to redirect us to the web page for that particular invoice number, and here it is. So in order to check whether the information is correct or not, we have to go back and select and check. I had clicked on this invoice number, so this is the invoice number, and which supplier, A1 juice supply, and it is A1 juice supply, and what invoice amount it has. It has 5804.76, and it is over here 5804.76. Go back and again click on another supplier, like this time I'm going to select click on this one, ABC Consulting. Click on view invoice detail, then it will going to redirect us to that particular supplier. And here it is, ABC Consulting, invoice number is this one, and invoice amount is 10381.55, and here it is. So this is about the drill through functionality. If you have any question regarding this, please reach out to us at www.bisptrainings.com. And this is all about our today's session. I hope you like this one. Thank you everyone for watching.